I'm in like Luke, I want to say 8. Yeah, Luke 8. When Jesus returned, the crowd welcomed him, for they had been waiting for him. A man named Jairus, who was a synagogue leader, came, fell at Jesus' feet. He pleaded with him to come to his house because his only daughter, a 12-year-old, was dying. As Jesus moved forward, he faced smothering crowds. A woman was there who had been bleeding for 12 years. She had spent her entire livelihood on doctors, but no one could heal her. She came up behind him and touched the hem of his clothes, and at once her bleeding stopped. Her bleeding stopped. "Who touched me?" Jesus asked, when everyone denied it. Peter said, "Master, the crowds are surrounding you and pressing in on you." But Jesus said, "Someone touched me, because I know that power has gone out from me." When the woman saw that she couldn't escape notice, she came trembling and fell before Jesus. In front of everyone, she explained why she had touched him and how she had been immediately healed. "Daughter, your faith has healed you," Jesus said. "Go in peace." While Jesus was speaking, someone came from the synagogue leader's house saying to Jairus, "Your daughter has died. Don't bother the teacher any longer." When Jesus heard this, he responded, "Don't be afraid, just keep trusting, and she will be healed." When they came to the house, he didn't allow anyone to enter with him except Peter, John, and James, and the child's father and mother. They were all crying and mourning for her. But Jesus said, "Don't cry. She isn't dead. She's only sleeping." They laughed at him because they knew she was dead. Taking her hand, Jesus called out, "Child, get up." Her life returned, and she got up at once. He directed them to give her something to eat. Her parents were beside themselves with joy, but Jesus ordered them to tell no one what had happened. Jesus called the 12 together and gave them. He told them, "Take nothing for the journey, no walking stick, no bag, no bread, no money, not even an extra shirt. Whatever house you enter, remain there until you leave that place, wherever they don't welcome you. As you leave that city, leave that place, shake the dust off your feet as a witness against them." They departed and went through the villages, proclaiming the good news and healing people everywhere. Herod the ruler heard about everything that was happening. He was confused because some people were saying that John had been raised from the dead, others that Elijah had appeared, and still others that one of the ancient prophets had come back to life. Herod said, "I beheaded John. So now who am I hearing about?" Herod wanted to see him. When the apostles returned, they described for Jesus what they had done. Taking them with him, Jesus withdrew privately to a city called Bethsaida. When the crowds figured it out, they followed him. He welcomed them, spoke to them about God's kingdom, and healed those who were sick. When the day was almost over, the 12 came to him and said, "Send the people away so that they can go to the nearby villages and countryside and find lodging and food, for we are in a deserted place." He told them, "You give them something to eat." But they said, "We have no more than 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, unless we go and buy food for all these people." They said this because about 5,000 men were present. Jesus said to his disciples, "Seat them in groups of about 50. They did so, and everyone was seated. He took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, looked up to heaven, blessed them, and broke them, and gave them to set before the crowds. Everyone ate until they were full. The disciples filled 12 baskets with the leftovers. Once when Jesus was praying by himself, the disciples joined him, and he asked them, "Who do the crowd say that I am?" They answered, "John the Baptist, others Elijah, and still others that one of the ancient prophets has come back to life." He He asked them, "And what about you? Who do you say that I am?" Peter answered, "The Christ sent from God." Jesus gave them strict orders not to tell this to anyone. He said, "The human one must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders, chief priests, and the legal experts, and be killed, and on the third day rise again." Jesus said to everyone, "All who want to come after me must say no to themselves, take up their cross, and follow me. All who want to save their lives will lose them, but all who lose their lives because of me will save them." What advantage do people have if they gain the whole world for themselves, yet perish or lose their lives? Whoever is ashamed of me and of my words, the human one will be ashamed of that person when he comes in his glory and in the glory of the Father and of the holy angels. I assure you, some standing here won't die before they see God's kingdom. About 8 days after Jesus said these things, he took Peter, John, and James and went up on a mountain to pray. As he was praying, the appearance of his face changed, and his clothes flashed white like lightning. 2 men, Moses and Elijah, were talking with him. They were standing with him. They spoke of Jesus' departure, which he would achieve in Jerusalem. Peter and those with him were almost overcome by sleep, but they managed to stay awake and saw his glory as well as the 2 men with him. As the 2 men were about to leave Jesus, Peter said, "Master, it's good that we're here. We should construct 3 shrines, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." But he didn't know what he was saying. Whew.